Good day and hello, besties. My name is Shelby Ashley, and welcome to another episode recap for Big Brother 28. This was episode 11. This was the week 3 veto competition and ceremony episode, and I must say, it was a banger. I was pretty excited with all the stuff that they had to fit into this episode. A lot of times I think the 90-minute Wednesday episodes are blah, but this time I think it was a little needed, especially with the competition thrown in there and everything. So, as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment below as you watch because I actually don't really have anybody in my real life to talk about this stuff with, so I'd love to chat about it down there. Anything you do in that vicinity, in that realm, though, helps me out, so thank you. So, getting into the episode, we started off, they had a little, I just wanted to note that they had a little flashback of killing the egg costume, and any egg content, Angela egg content, Vinny egg content, egg costume content, I am here for. I would follow the egg content account on social medias. We start after the nomination ceremony, of course, and we see, Lala needing 10. She doesn't want to hug Lyric. And then we see Mallory just saying that she's so tired of feeling like she just has to fight for her life all the time. And Lyric is also saying this as well. Lala's like, are you freaking kidding me? All the women are pretty hurt to be put on the block. And it just sucks, when you're on the other side and one side keeps winning power, you just feel so down on it. Lyric and Kamu talk. Kamu says that she is the pawn and he really wants to make her feel comfortable. He says that he really wants to use the veto on her, and Lyric is saying that she doesn't really trust anything Kamu says because he went back on his word about not putting her up in the first place on the block, but she can't really get mad at him because he is the HOH, but if she got power, she would not hesitate to put him or his allies up. Jason comforts Lala and tells her that, he's probably the backdoor plan. He's not stupid. He calls this out in the DR as well. And he's like, you're not fooling him. He knows what's up. Lala says, though, even if Jason is the plan, it's not good for her game. And it really isn't. For all of these people on that side of the house, losing any number isn't good for their game at all, especially as their numbers dwindle and this other side of the house stays like a solid block. You're gonna be screwed and it's gonna be a steamroll if you don't get your fucking shit together anytime soon. Mallory says that she has to talk to Kamu because he's the stupid HOH this week. Mallory is so real. I love her in the DR. I'm really growing to like her. I threw her 5 votes in the time capsule vote. I just would love to see her win HOH and get some power because she will be a savage with it. Pretty much how Devins was a savage with the whole Rome situation, which I would say was a bold move that he did execute. But I think Mallory would be just as ballsy and she's one where I can guarantee you those 3 icons would be on the block. But she does go talk to Kamu, the stupid HOH, and Kamu's telling her that Jason is his target. Kamu's basically telling everybody that Jason's his target, and he hopes that he gets where she gets where he's coming from, but he does say in the DR that she is his plan B. Although I don't think Kamu would agree with plan B, but it's nice to know that for some women, plan B is okay. Mallory and Lyric, we get a little moment of them just kind of crying together. They're really sad that they're nominated together. And I really loved seeing this because I remember in the first episode, Mallory was saying she's really drawn to Lyric and she would love to be friends with her. So it's really nice that they have made this bond together and are developing this tight friendship. Lyric also mentions that she misses Rome, and I'm telling you, this is serious underdog editing. I wouldn't be surprised if this next time capsule vote does not go to D, because I think that the momentum of the icons is slowing down. I think the, flashiness is wearing off a little bit, and these, underdogs, people love to root for the underdog, and these people are all underdogs. I'm really really rooting for a power shift next week, because I would love to see the icons quake in their boots a little bit, and I want to see these ladies get some sweet revenge. Even if it doesn't work out perfectly because the diamond power of veto, whatever, but still, if they could like do something, like, oh god, I would just love that for them so much. Then we get a little segment. Devins is speaking a little Spanish, and then Barrett speaks a little Spanish, and it shakes Lala to her core. She is gagola, and she keeps trying to get him to like talk to Dee in Spanish, but he's too nervous. He says he's too shy, but he does say that if Dee wants to help him with the Spanish, he could make some time for that. Dee and Devins have a debrief about Devins' power, and they go around and plant seeds around the house about like information about the power. They're trying to get the scent off Devins, because Devins seems to be taking this to his grave, and so does Dee. Dee feels pretty bad about lying to Angela about it, but I think it's for the best for them that Angela doesn't know. And I'm becoming really conflicted with the icons in general. I am just such a person where I really love rooting for an underdog. That's why I like Devins, even though Dee played like a really dominant game, like I was just kind of still here for, like, I don't know, like I'm here for this. What am I trying to say? I'm here as a fan for them to beat the Big Brother game. I really am. Dee, like I keep saying, Dee being the first person to win Big Brother and Survivor would be incredible. I just want some opposition. I just want a little bit of opposition. I just feel like they are coasting right now, and I know that it comes with the position that they've made for themselves, but it's just like a little bit of stuff mixed in between. It's just like a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. Like, because just based off of, you never know when production actually intervenes. So, I don't know. I'm still here for it, but I just really hope someone on the other side of the house wins power next week. I think my interest in the season, like, lies within that. We do get a little thing where Barrett does guess that it's a diamond power of veto, which is kind of crazy. And a lot of people do think that Jason has it. And Drew even like floats the idea of not backdooring Jason just in case he has a power. But even if he does have a power, they could at least just flush it. So that doesn't really go very far. Kamu tells Jason, we get a clip where you see him. He says that two names that came up the most when they asked people for names were Jason and Lala to go on the block. And Jason does tell Kamu in this conversation that he will do whatever he wants with the veto. And Jason says he will, but we also see Jason telling Mallory that he will take out Mallory if he wins the veto. They literally shake on it. But Mallory, doesn't really says that his word isn't really worth much. So we'll just have to see what happens. The biggest thing that is happening right now, though, is the red corner side of the house does not want Jason to play in this veto, and anybody on the other side of the house, who kind of wants to work with Jason, wants him to play in this veto, because it would be iconic if Jason won the veto and was able to pull someone off the block, and then they would at least have a couple more numbers to be able to do something. But in the veto draw, we get the first person picked is Haley, and then Lala's chip is pulled. And then Lala picks Jason to play in the veto. And Jason's super happy to play in the veto, but Kamu is very irritated because it could ruin his entire plan. Jason does say that he has promised all the women on the block safety, and he doesn't really know what he would do with it, but he'll figure that out later if he does win the veto. But he is telling this to Melody and Drew, and Melody says that, she's just smiling and nodding, but she does eventually go tell Kamu this information because she is in pretty okay with Kamu, and she tells Kamu this probably because of the connection Drew and Kamu have, and I think they're trying to form something, but they don't really know how out of that Kamu is getting. So then we get to the veto competition. They go to the future. They're going to July 2051, and there are pickles absolutely everywhere. This is a pickleball themed competition where it's pickles and balls. but not so much pickleball. Everyone is wearing tutus, and Yash says, he doesn't know about ballrooms, but he does know how to ball. Angela is also wearing a cunty little dress that I enjoyed. In this game, 2 house guests compete head-to-head. They will spin super freaking fast on a pickle, and then they have to hit the balls and score in a zone, and the highest score wins. And then whoever wins that round gets to pick the next person, who gets to pick the person that they go against, and then the last person standing wins. Mallory is picked to go first, and she picks to play against Lala. And dude, that pickle spins. That pickle is spinning for sure. You get lots of dizzy montages, lots of wacky noises and stuff. Mallory kind of kills this first round while Lala is struggling hella. I don't think that woman hit a single ball. And unfortunately, I feel like that's how I'd be with my vision. But ultimately, Mallory does win, and she chooses Jason to play next. And I feel like I write this about someone every episode, but Mallory is fucking fit. Dude, like her arm muscles, like, I'm a sucker. So Jason picks to play against Kamu, and this time they're both at least hitting balls after they spin on the pickle. Kamu does beat Jason, boo. And then Kamu picks Haley next, and she picks to play against Lyric. We get another Rome reference because this pickleball competition, I can't believe Rome left before this pickleball competition, and I can almost guarantee you they made, the concept of this pickleball competition came before the Rome, probably. So it just would have been cool for Rome to be able to play a pickleball competition. But we get another Rome reference, and this show, I don't think we'll stop with Rome references as long as Lyric is here. Also, the music they use at the beginning of these rounds reminds me of the beginning of Pink Pony Club by Chappell Roan. And in this one, with Haley v. Lyric ends up winning. And then next up, she picks Mallory, and Mallory picks to play against Kamu. And with a 1-point difference, Mallory beats Kamu. Girl power, go power, go power. Fuck Kamu. But, can you tell? Oh, I literally wrote fuck Kamu. I didn't even. And then we have Mallory v. Lyric, and it's really cool because they're both nominees, so at least one of them gets to win safety for themselves, and that person is Lyric. She says she dedicates this power of Veto to the her pickleball family and Rome. So sweet. So after the competition, we get Jason, and he's pointing out that, it's Dee, Devins, and Angela, and Chuck, Haley, and Kamu that are all, working together to run the house. So he's trying to do whatever he can. He's just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. And sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes it's a messy thing. And I think in this case, it's a bit of a messy thing because, he's telling the icons, he can go after the red corner at some point, telling the red corner he can go after the icons. And then they all compare notes, and then they realize he's literally saying the same thing to both sides. It's just messy, but he's just trying anything, which I can appreciate rather than doing nothing. Lala. Kamu mentions to Dee that he's trying to figure out how to go about nominating Jason. He knows that's what he wants to do. He's literally told everybody that's what he wants to do. And Jason even knows that's what's going to happen. So I don't really understand why Kamu really needed a whole song and dance about nominating Jason. But he, tells Dee about the whole, promising to use the veto thing. Dee tells him about, the mess from before, about him telling both trios, all of that. And Kamu wants to call him out in front of everyone at this tea party that they're having. Cheers to the tea party. So the tea party is happening. Everybody gets so dressed up. Drew and Barrett are in dresses even. Everybody looks great. They have so many snacks. They even have not friendly snacks. So considerate. And the vibes are just vibing. Everybody's having a really good time. And then we get a clip of Kamu pacing the HOH room, practicing this speech. I think practicing your speech, like in my head I do it, I guess, and really I talk to myself, so I guess I do it, but it's just something about so cringy seeing it on the outside. But and the music changes too, which I appreciated, but it's just Kamu, practicing his lines. And then it cuts to, people having fun, setting up the party, and then da-da-da-da. So I loved the juxtaposition about that. And also in this montage of everybody setting up, we do get a glimpse of Jason holding a tea kettle. Everybody's, around in a nice circle. Everybody's having a good time. And then Kamu begins his speech. He is saying, this is the best time of his life. He wouldn't want to do it with anybody else, and he cheers to everyone. He wants to address the elephant in the room that is this fourth nominee he's gonna have to put up. So he starts calling out Jason. He's talking about the deal that they made for Jason to do whatever Kamu wanted with the veto if he won. And then he accuses Jason of promising all the nominees that he would use it on them if he wins, which Kamu feels like goes against the deal that he made. And then we get a DR Melody saying that, oops, I definitely told Kamu this information, but I am shutting up because my show is on. Then he asked Jason in front of everybody, he said, would you have honored our deal if you won the power of veto? Or would you have used it on Lala like you promised her? And, Jason and Lala kind of look at each other, and Lala's like, he never promised me that. And Jason's like, yeah, I didn't. And Jason says, if Kamu wants the tea, he's the kettle and he needs to sit down. Jason just starts explaining, he's playing Big Brother. He says that Kamu told him in the HOH room that him and Lala were basically the biggest threats, the names that were coming up the most. And he tells Kamu, you can't just sit there and make me look like a giant target in front of everybody and try to call me out for my game. And Kamu tries to interrupt, and Jason says, I'm not done yet. Icon. Man, I wish I had that type of, but I guess you catch me on the wrong time. And then he continues saying, like, maybe his game was to lie to all the nominees and then just do whatever Kamu wanted because he wanted to work with him in the future. Like, you just don't know. And they're not letting him, make the mistakes and just play the game. Like, Kamu starts talking about how both sides of his alliance, got told different things about, the icons with the red corner and vice versa. Angela starts getting upset, and, Jason's trying to defend himself, saying, like, he's playing this game, and he calls out the entire Toolshed Alliance. He said, these 8 people are basically running the game, so why can't he try to, play to see another day? And Jason's telling Kamu to, like, name names, but Kamu won't because, like, I get it, like, he's trying to make Jason look bad, but Jason says, can we just do the veto ceremony already? Like, I know I'm going up. Like, Kamu just says, like, he just wanted to clear the air. Kamu just wanted to clear the air. But Jason says it just makes him look worse. And D is just kind of, like, relishing in the whole thing, watching Kamu become a bigger target. I tell you what, if anyone's a bystander that is just letting shit happen, it's D. D is just really knows when to sit back and just let someone take the reins and look freaking stupid. Jason asks Devins if he has the power. Devins denies it, says Jason might have it. And, Kamu thinks his mission is accomplished. And Jason just says, like, he ruined his game. He ruined Mallory's tea party. Mallory's hurt because Jason basically said, Mallory's hurt and gives Jason the birds in the DR because he's basically said he's okay lying to her face. And Taylor's just pissed that they ruined the party. Like, it's just like a big, messy little thing. And it's so awkward. Like, it comes off way more awkward on the feeds. Like, it was just silence for so long. After the party, Jason says, like, he's not going to let people talk to him like that. Like, and he's not going to let people think like they can get away with that. So he goes to the kitchen. Kamu and Drew are talking in the kitchen. So Jason goes in the kitchen. He's looking. Kamu's like, what are you looking for? And then Jason grabs a tea kettle and a wooden spoon and then starts bang, 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 banging them together. And he says, this'll do. This'll work just fine. He tells Kamu, you wanted a tea party? Well, I'm going to let you know whenever tea is spilled tomorrow. And Kamu says, Jason's not going to get under his skin. And then Jason ends up sleeping with the kettle. The next morning, Jason's ready to serve Queen Kamu tea. He says, Yash, Barrett, and Drew are strategizing, and follows around, tattling on everybody in the house, Lyric and so are in the bathroom, and stuff like that. He tells Kamu everything he sees, banging the kettle everywhere he goes. He even goes outside the DR while Kamu's in the DR, and he's saying that I have tea for you whenever you're done in there. And Kamu was saying, you could bang the pot as much as you want. It's not going to bother him. Meanwhile, Haley's kind of losing it. And then Kamu asks him to stop banging the pot around the woman's ears. And Jason just says he can do whatever he wants. So iconic. Lyric ends up using the veto on herself, of course, at the veto meeting. And then Kamu ends up nominating Jason as a replacement. In here, I said Lyric looks great. I guess I just have the hots for half this cast. But Lyric does look good at the ceremony. And Kamu was saying, when he was redoing the renom, he's like, I didn't want to do this, but you broke my favorite spoon, so Jason has to go up. And then Jason's looking up over his cup with 7 tea bags in it, and then gets on the block. And I wrote on here, I wish I could vote for someone to hit Kamu. Lala says, her side of the house can't take much more or they'll crumble. Mallory feels okay sitting next to Jason because Jason kind of seems like the bigger target. And Jason says that he is going to win this blockbuster and win HOH. And baby, I don't think you understand how much I hope you do. So that's where we leave off the episode. If you don't want to know kind of how the vote's going so far, feel free to tune out now. But before you tune out, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment below that you had a great time and you watched this far. I appreciate all of that and thank you for watching. But if you're interested in what's going on in the house in real time, just stick around because we are going to talk about it in literally right now. So we have, of course, Mallory, Jason, and Lala on the block. I think it's looking like if Jason doesn't win the blockbuster, he's probably gonna go home. And it really makes sense, especially after seeing it laid out in the episode and stuff, how could you trust anything Jason says, and he is the type of player to just do whatever he needs to do to survive. So, I kind of get it, but I really, really, really want him to win the blockbuster. It is do or die for Jason to win this blockbuster tomorrow. So I am starting a prayer circle now of Jason winning the blockbuster. Because if he does win the blockbuster, then we're in for some juicy talks, because the votes between the scenario between Mallory and Lala are flipping everywhere. I literally can't keep up and I don't know who's actually telling the truth. I don't know, if push comes to shove, where people are gonna go. Taylor is flip-flopping a lot, and I don't know, man. We'll see, but I would love for that to be what happens. And I would love for Mallory to stay and Lala to go. Mainly because Lala is a bit of a nothing burger for me even as strategy, as a competition person, really all of that. Lala, I think, has served her purpose on Big Brother for my needs. And I would much rather have people who I know are guaranteed to go after the icons stay in the house. And like I said, I just really like Mallory, and I really need a power shift in this house. I keep wanting to say veterans and vets, but I'm really trying to stick with icons. But the icons are still pretty suspicious of Drew. Drew's been spending a lot of time with Melody, which makes them even more suspicious. And Drew needs to win this HOH tomorrow. I think if Jason stays, like, Jason needs to probably the most. But I think as far as Drew, like, I think he really needs to. And I don't really know what he would do with it, but he really needs to make a stance on what side of the house he wants to be on soon. But I would love for him or someone he's close to so that he doesn't end up on the block. Like a Barrett, a Melody, maybe a Lyric as well. Like, I would love any of them. Really, anybody who would go after the icons, I want them to win. But what really sucks is, like, even if they win, Devin's Diamond Power of the Veto really sucks. Like, it really sucks for the progression of the game, because even if there's a power shift next week, let's say, you know, on the block we get D, Devin, Angela. Say D wins the veto, Devins uses Diamond Power Veto on himself, puts someone like Drew up, and then we lose Drew on, like, a Lyric HOH. Like, that sucks. Like, that would suck so bad. But I don't know. And also, I really want to flush this fucking Diamond Power of Veto. So I really need someone to put one of Devin's himself or his allies in the line of fire next week, so that Devins is forced to use. Really, I think the only way it can be forced to use is if Devins is on the block. Devins needs to stay on the block after the veto, Golden Power Veto is used, so that we can get this Diamond Power Veto used already. Because you would look like the silliest man on earth if you went home with a Diamond Power Veto in your pocket. Fuck off. Like, so if you can't tell, I'm very much so rooting for a power shift tomorrow night. My predictions for tomorrow, I really, really, really hope that the blockbuster is something along the lines of name that drag queen or something. But I think Jason would do pretty well at that untangle rope competition. I thought it might be last week. And he did pretty good at that one, like, drink competition, like, remembering what one was repeated the most in the first episode. So maybe something kind of like that. Really, I just really want Jason to win this blockbuster, because I think the most interesting vote comes from Mallory v. Lala. And I'm just here for a Lala loss. I really am. I think the HOH will probably be something endurance-y or physical. And like I've been saying, I would love to see a power shift. I am going to manifest that Mallory stays tomorrow night and that she wins HOH. I think that would be so exciting. I just want her to put up the icons and flush the power. And even getting out stray like Angela, I think would still be really good for the rest of the game, because it still is a shot at the icons. It's a shot at the other side of the house. It's one less number, and, like, you really make a stance on the season getting rid of one of the icons. So I think it's still, like, a good hit on that side. But we will have to wait until tomorrow night to see everything that happens. So I will be back tomorrow with all of the fallout from the not HOH competition, from the live eviction. Oh my gosh, let's pray for a Jason blockbuster win. And don't forget to vote for people to get the power. I mean, I don't really think it matters much if we vote for something like this, but I put 5 on Jason, I put 5 on Mallory, and I put 5 on Drew, because I'm here for the power players, for these people who are trying to play this game. So come back tomorrow for everything post eviction, and I'll see you then. Goodbye.